There we go. We are recording. Let's get it going on here. Let's make a mug. Go to our front view. Build in the front view. If you're doing curves, it's usually better. So I'm going to snap by holding X and just drop a single point with a single click. And then I'm going to come out here, and this time I'm going to click and drag while I'm still holding X, and it's going to snap a Bezier curve out. And then I'm going to come up here, hold X, and click and drag. It's going to snap that Bezier curve to the grid points, and I'll do it once more. You don't have to snap to the grid points if you don't want to, but if you want to make it super precise, you can. Of course, in the real world, it usually doesn't look like that. So, but I'm gonna fix these up in a little bit. Okay, so snap that out, and hold X and single click. And you'll notice that I basically did this so that most of these are matched up. So you can see those two, these two, and these two. Just makes my modeling later easier. These, I'm going to go into the top here, grab these two together, and I'm going to scale them in a little bit, like so. I'm going to come here and go to curve point, and I'm just going to click on this edge and drag. You'll see a little dot comes out, and I'm going to go ahead and hit insert knot. What that's going to do is add an extra control point in here. So if you want to move that around, you can. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing over here to curve point, insert knot. Okay, so now we should have a control point right here and right here. I'm going to drag these out. And I'm going to scale these out like so. Make that nice and round. Take these, move these out. So I'm just going to round my cup a little bit. Like so. Maybe take this and turn that a little bit. It's kind of an interesting shape. Maybe I'll just leave it like this. Let's see. Nah, I'll leave that alone. Maybe take this and kind of turn it like that. That looks interesting. Yeah. Let's just do this a little bit. I just want that to be thicker. I think it should be. There we go. Okay, now that we got these rounded about a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and do a revolve. And this is the point where you would want to revolve it with the right settings. So you want to control double click this revolve button, hold control, double click, and you'll get your option box up. The other way to do that is go into your surfaces and just hit this option box right here. Now, if you haven't done this, or if you've done this before and your settings are all messed up, just hit reset settings. So that'll be starting from scratch. And then I can go polygons and quads and general and set it to this bottom setting. This is usually a pretty good setting if you have enough points up here. So we're going to go ahead and just hit apply, and we'll see what that comes out like. Object mode, perspective, there you go. My polygons are a little bit strangely distributed, so I'm going to grab these two by just double click on one, hold shift, double click on the other one. Actually, let's double click on this one and hold shift and double click on that one, hit control backspace. What control backspace does is it's a delete edge vert, which also control delete is the other hotkey. I don't know why they have two hotkeys for it, but they do. So what it does is it deletes the edges and the verts together. Now I want to even this mesh out just a little bit for my taste, so I'm going to go ahead and just go transform constraint, edge slide, and I just want to slide that down a little bit and slide this one down a little bit, and that's going to slide it along the edges, so it's not going to be basically go outside of the initial profile that I have established. Let's get rid of this and get rid of that. Control backspace. I'm not too worried about the inside though, so I just saw those were pretty tight together and I didn't want them like that, so I just got rid of them. So in my front view, I'm going to go and draw a curve in that's going to be my handle. So I'm probably going to go from here to here. These are going to be basically where my handle's going to go to. And so I'm going to go Bezier curve, click once, click out a little bit, go a little bit more, maybe a little bit more, and then bring this thing back in. And like that. Now it's okay if you didn't get it perfect because you can always adjust it afterwards by going to control verts. And let's just, this slide does not actually affect this curve too much. I don't think it affects it at all actually. It's only for polygons. So as far as I know, it's only for polygons. So it should be fine. I might want to try to grab that right there. Just balance that out a little bit. Maybe bring this one up a little bit. Balance that out. You can also scale these as well. So I can take these two parts here and scale them like that. Maybe move it out if I want to smooth. Oops, got the wrong part. You got to get the middle one to actually move it. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and look at this in perspective view. And that looks pretty good. So let's just take this curve into object mode. I'm going to move it up just a tiny bit, like so. And this edge, just going to slide that up just a tiny bit. This one I'm going to slide down just a tiny bit because I want it to, as best as I can, match where this curve is hitting. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a circle that's going to cut into these two pieces here. So I'm going to grab both these verts and go to my poly modeling tools, and I'm going to do a bevel. You can also find bevel in here under bevel in your edit mesh menu. So just go ahead and hit bevel. And then I'm going to change the default of 0.25 to 0.5, and that should move it halfway from where it was to the halfway point between the next vert over. So if these are kind of a square shape, then you should get a nice, roughly diamond shape that should come up. All right, if you have like something that's really not square as far as these shapes go, it's going to look a little bit different. It's going to be a little elongated in one direction. So that's why I went and evened out my mesh a little bit so it would kind of get the right size. I'm going to turn on multi-component mode in my my modeling toolkit right here. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to grab the edges, the faces, or the verts all at the same time. Okay, so I'm just trying to show a different tool that you can use other than the cut tool. So you can actually select this vert, this edge, and then this vert and hit connect down here in the modeling toolkit, and you can see it will connect all those together. Just hit enter to complete that, and I'll do it one more time. So vert, hold shift hit the edge, hold shift hit the next edge, and the next vert, and then just hit connect. And there you go. Those are all together now. Hit enter, and we can grab these faces and we can turn those into a circle, but we'll cut this one before we do that. So you can do the same kind of thing down here with the connect, but I'm actually going to do it a different way. So this time I'm going to go and just do the verts, or it could be any of these faces or edges, doesn't matter. I'm going to use the cut tool, and I'm going to just cut once, and then I'm going to hold shift, and you'll see a black dot pops up over this. So I just click on there, hold shift again, click on there, and what that is doing is when I hold shift, it's going to pop into the 50% of that edge. So if I'm not holding shift, so hold shift, and then let go, and click on the last spot, and it'll let you go to that vert there. So just hit Q to drop your tool, go into the faces, and now we're going to take both of these sets of faces here, and we're going to circularize them, which is right here, or you go into your edit mesh, circularize, one of the two. So there we go, circularize those guys. You can play with these settings if you want, but it's pretty good usually the way it is. Depends on what you're trying, you know. So I'm just gonna leave it the way it is and hit Q to drop that tool, and then I'm actually gonna delete those. So I don't want those anymore, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extrude the edge around this curve. You can extrude edges as well as faces. So, but one thing before I do that, I want to show what happens here. Okay, so you'll see this little box right here that's on the end of this curve. That's my starting point for my curve. Okay, if I try to extrude from the end point and try to go up this way, it will have a problem. So watch what happens. I'm going to go edge, and I'm going to shift select this, and then I'm going to hit extrude, and it's not going to look right. And you say, wait a second, what's this thing doing? Oh, it's getting all weird. Look at that. That's not what I want. So we're going to undo that. Let's undo that whole thing. Let's do it from here. So I just, double click to get the open edges there. Hold shift, get that. Hit extrude. Now we put our divisions in, and look, that one works. It looks really good. Why is it different? It's different because this tool looks at, when you're doing the extrude along curve, it's looking at um, the first point of the curve and taking it to the last. So what it was doing over here was it was going up here first and then coming back down. So that's why you want to make sure you're starting from the beginning of the curve. If you can't, like if you drew a curve out and it was really intricate and you found out you did it wrong, you can actually go in and select your curve, and you could actually reverse the order by going to curve. It's in here somewhere. I don't do this often, but there's a reverse in here. Yeah, reverse direction right at the bottom. There you go. So now at this point, I'm going to select this mesh. All right, and all I need to do really is connect these edges together. But what I'm actually going to do is grab the face here and shift double click on this. It'll grab the loop of faces, as you can see, and hit delete. Say, why'd you do that? Well, because I'm going to just go ahead and double click on this edge and shift double click on this edge, and I'm going to do a bridge, which is this guy right here, or you can go to your edit mesh tools, bridge, third one down. Okay, so let's click over here, we go bridge, and as you can see, Maya knows how to complete it because it's going from an 8 side to 8 side, so it's not too bad. You can add divisions in there if you want, but we don't need that for right now. So I'm going to hit W on my keyboard, and voila. Now I have that connected, and of course it's connected up here. I can check this out and just hit 3 on my keyboard and say, hey, that looks kind of nice, cool. I'm going to add one more thing in here, which is I'm going to go back to 1, and I'm going to add a little bevel in here, just a tiny one like that. It's going to look nice, give a nice transition. So that's pretty much it for that part. Let's go ahead and we're going to go to mesh display and soften edge. So now if we turn off our display of edges, we can see it looks pretty good even when it's not smooth, but if we do smooth it, it'll look even better. Looks pretty nice. Okay, so that's basically how you can make a mug. There's, of course, many ways to skin a cat, and this is just one of them. But I just wanted to show off a different method, and soon we will get into the polygon unwrapping, and that'll come next.